Hey guys, let's do a Morgan dollar, 1921. It's a beautiful Morgan. Let's do this. We're gonna do a size 8 coin ring out of this guy. I've been, I've had some of my videos muted by YouTube for having music in the background, so I'm gonna hold off on this one. The main goal of making this one is I'm gonna try to avoid using the stretcher, the ring stretcher, and just go with the Swedish die and the dies. Let's see if we can do it. I may use the plunger down below just to save time from having to use the crank on the press. But I've already cut the center punch out, which is one of the more time-consuming parts, not punching it out, but I spend a lot of time on the inner detail because that ends up being outer detail later, so I want it to be nice from the get-go. So let's get started. First thing I need to do is heat and anneal this coin. This will make it so I'll be able to fold it, bend it, manipulate it, do whatever I want with it, within reason, of course. Every coin's different. The silver dollars are pretty thick, so they take about 30 seconds each time, 30-45 seconds. If I turn the lights out, your goal is about a dull red with the metal. I've done this a lot, so I kind of know when it's ready. Start to get like a green flame to come off the end where that orange flame's coming off now. It starts to turn a little green. Alright. I just leave my flame on because it's easier. Alright, I have stabilizing dies, which have a little rim around it, which will hold certain coins. And I'll hold this one. I feel like Lisa's going to want the eagle out. This is for Lisa. So we will do eagle out, so we'll have heads on the top. I'm going to use whatever cone will fit in there. And where is my middle cone? That'll be the cone shape number 2. Again, I'm going to use this for a few things, just the plunger, because cranking this down will just take more time. Alright, so push that down and started to give us a curve. I'm going to take it back to the heat real quick. I'll be right back. I try to heat the coin as often as possible, pretty much every time I do a new movement with it. That way I avoid any kind of splits, any kind of cracks. Some rings you'll see, I don't remember the term, I think it's, I want to say over-articulated, but I don't think that's right. There's a term for it when you either overheat your coins or don't heat them enough, and it mostly happens with pure silver. I've actually never had it happen to me, so I'm not sure how they do it, but it'll like changes the metal. I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. Maybe they're using a higher torch, a lower torch, I don't know. Alright, so we're back to good here. I'm going to go to a different die just because the coin sits a little different in there. I like to use the die where the coin sits closest to the top. I'm going to move up a size cone to the next size up. Right now, the only metal on metal contact we have is, and you can actually kind of see it, is this little tiny white rim right around the base. You want to avoid all metal on metal contact, but that isn't going to hurt us in the long run. That won't even really be noticeable, really. But that's really the only part of the metal that anything's touching. So I think that that was all we needed to use that stretcher for, was that one fold. We can use the press for the rest. And we should be able to do the press with everything else we need to do. I can't really think of any reason to have to use that ring stretcher. So if your ring stretcher is down, there are still ways to make coin rings, guys. You do not need your stretcher. So my objective here is to get the cone to suck up to the coin, and right now we still got a ways to go. I want it to suck right up to the cone. So to do that, I'm going to still use, actually I'm going to do this smart. I'm going to go back to the heating process again real quick. I may do this more than most, but I haven't had a reason to not do it this much. It seems to, I always screw myself if I don't heat my coins enough. I don't think you can go wrong. And all I want to do is produce a good coin ring for the customer. So if I need to spend an extra 10 minutes heating and annealing coins, I think it's worth it. All right. So I think that once I'm able to fit into this die, which we're still, the rim's still hitting it, we'll be close to where we need to be. But for now, I'm going to continue in this die. Make sure she's level in there. And I'm going to go to the largest size metal cone. You don't want to go too far or you will push through the die. We're almost to where we need to be. And I am now able to fit into the next die. So I'm going to go to that next die so I don't push through the bottom. And just finish this real quick bend. Now we're right where we want to be, which is right about here. We're now sucked up to the coin, and we have a good cone shape. Back to the heat real quick, then we'll use some Swedish dies. This will probably be one of the last times I have to heat the nail, so I can turn my heat off. Okay, so this is where we are. You can kind of see where the metal on metal contact's been. It's been just the top rim and this little tiny bit inside here. No details been touched yet. So now that we're going to the Swedish die, the outside of the coin is going to be touching metal, and this is a longer cone, and I believe it's a 17 degree, maybe it's a 14 degree. But what I do is I put the coin in bigger side up, place it in the cone, push it down. What that's going to do is it's going to elongate the coin, and it's going to press the coin down to where, it's hard to explain, but it'll be more uniform. But before I do that, I want to wrap it in some Teflon tape, and it's just quicker for me to do on my lap because that's what I'm used to. I do about 4 to 6 wraps around, and again, this is just to protect the metal on metal contact when that contact happens. So we're just wrapped several times here. I'm going to set her into Swedish wrap like so, with the reeded side up. And I have special dies. If you have Swedish wraps, you'll have your own dies, but these will go in between sizes, so I like these. Right now it's probably about a size 13 or 14. So we're going to go down this whole cone plus half of another cone. Just want to make sure that you're on all reeds. All reeds are touching your push rod. You also want to kind of make sure that there's some kind of a protective layer on top, whether it be the Teflon tape or, you know, sometimes I'll tape the actual push rod itself, which I'll do for this. I've got a little tape still in there, but that saves your reeds. For now, I'm going to stick with the tape that's in there and just go a different size push rod to finish this piece here. Now, as far as I can go on this rod, or with this die, my final goal is to have all the tape to where I can see the wording of the coin. You can kind of start seeing the TED of United come through. I'm going to push this down. Actually, my goal is to get it to about a size 10, but before that we'll start seeing the detail of the coin come through. If you're going for a larger size, you'd probably have to take it to the stretcher, then you'd be to this step, and you'd want to see all that wording. Okay, now we're on the next size Swedish wrap die and the next size push rod. So let's see where we're at. So you can see, we can start seeing the detail come through the tape. What that's doing is the metal could have like a little waviness to it, you know, like we're pushing that out, we're making it straight so that when we finish this there won't be any kind of waves or anything weird. Right now it should be a pretty large size, 13.5. Again, actually it's probably more of a 14. Again, we're going for an 8, so we want it to sit way up here. This is good though. You can always go smaller. I could still see a little bit of white coming through here, so I'm going to push a little further on the push rod. So we're good here. All the wording is coming through. All the tape's been pushed. Take the tape off now. It's going to be pressed into every detail of the coin. So just want to make sure you get all that off. This is what we have right now. I'm going to go ahead and heat this one more time and we'll finish this process. You can see our reeded edge is still great looking. If you don't protect that, you'll get circular lines, you'll get weird stuff. Or even if you just have the smallest rim dings, that's the hardest thing for me to say, rim dings, it'll show up like a sore thumb. Like if you have the smallest like little bump in a coin, like say your rim just happens to have just a tiny nick, this one doesn't have one, but the tiniest nick will show up so strong when you get finished. So let's heat this one final time and we'll finish it. Alright, this is it. The best part of the trip. So we've got a cone-shaped ring. This part has not been stretched at all, so it's a lot thicker than this part that has been stretched. I know our end goal is a size 8. Right now we're at a size 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into our regular size dies, these guys here, 17 degree. Find one that'll work good for us, which will be this guy. Looks like our 1.1 to 1.2. I'm going to put it in reeded side down. I'm going to press this down. Pretty much all the way. Pretty close to all the way. I want my end goal for this to be a 7.5 on the reeded side, even though we're going for an 8. And the reasoning behind that, I'll show you guys here in a little bit. You don't ever want to go too far, because if you go too far, you're kind of screwed at that point. So we're at a 9 3/4. Looks like we can go pretty much all the way down on the reeded side here, which is what I thought. I just don't want to go too far. We're almost all the way down. We're at a size 8. Like I said, I want to show you guys. We're at a size 8. I'm going to be at a size 7.5 because I'm going to reduce, or I'm going to take a little bit of the metal off the reeded side to make it a little more level with the non-reeded side that was stretched so much. So right there is where I want to go. Now you can see this little gap here. Basically this is how you make your ring level on both sides and even, is this step here. That little gap there is what you want to push your non-reeded side to. Exactly. And then the outside of your ring will be perfect ring shape every single time. The inside will be a little off, but that's what we're going to fix next. So now we're right where we need to be. This ring's going to be a perfect size 7.5 right now. You can see we've got the perfect ring shape that we want. the shape every ring should be, or I mean there's many styles, or 7.5, which is perfect, because like I was saying, this side was stretched a bunch more, so it's thinner. You can see how thin the metal is. This side hasn't been manipulated a lot. It's thicker, so obviously the inside's going to be, you can tell the inside is thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of this lip off using a Dremel tool and this deburring tool. And the deburring tool just kind of takes off some stuff quick. You can see it's taking off a little silver. And I noticed about a half size is good for what it takes to do this. So if you want an 8, you go to a 7.5. By the time you're done doing this stuff, it'll be an 8. Alright, now I'm going to take my Dremel, and now I'm just going to basically just soften this up. This isn't touching any of the inside of the coin, this is just touching this rim. Again, our metal on metal contact has been pretty much 0 because we didn't use the ring stretcher. As far as size, shape, and everything, this should be a perfect size 8 right now, which it is. I don't know if you can see that or not. We're a size 8. At this point, you're done, basically. Take some steel wool. I'm using 0000 steel wool. You can do whatever kind of patina finish you want, but once you hit the inside, your rim, and the outside, patina makes everything pop, obviously, but at this point you have a perfect Morgan dollar size 8 coin ring. Let's check it out. I don't know where the best lighting is. Inside detail, again, the ring stretcher wasn't used, so there is no metal on metal contact. A patina, which I'll do after this video. I have separate videos of how to do a patina. Take a little more steel wool to it, patina this bad boy. You got a perfect ring. Shape is dead on. It's the right size, so thanks for watching.